The notification popped up on my phone while I was having lunch alone at my desk, as usual. Mom had tagged me in something on Facebook. I almost ignored it. Another one of those inspirational quotes she loved sharing. Probably. But something made me click on it. Maybe it was instinct, or maybe the universe decided it was time for me to see the truth. It wasn't a public post. She'd accidentally tagged me in a private family video from last Sunday's gathering, the one I'd missed because I was working overtime to help pay for my brother Jake's car repairs. The video started innocently enough. Everyone was there: Mom, Dad, Jake, my sister Emma, Aunt Carol, Uncle Pete, and a few cousins. They were sitting around the dining table, the one I'd helped Mom refinance the house to afford 5 years ago. Then I heard my name. "Speaking of Ashley," Mom said, and everyone started laughing. Not the warm, affectionate laugh you'd expect when family talks about you. This was different. This was cruel. "Our little ATM machine," Jake chimed in, raising his beer. "Always reliable, never questions anything." My hands started shaking. I turned up the volume, even though every word felt like a knife twisting deeper into my chest. "Remember when she gave up her vacation to pay for Emma's wedding dress?" Aunt Carol added. "She actually thought we'd invite her as a bridesmaid." The table erupted in laughter again. Emma, my baby sister Emma, who I'd practically raised when Mom went back to work, was laughing the hardest. "The pathetic thing is," Emma said, wiping tears from her eyes, "she probably thinks we actually need her, like we couldn't figure things out without her money." "She's so desperate for approval," Dad said, shaking his head. "It's actually sad. 32 years old, no boyfriend, no life, just work and giving us money. What a pathetic failure." Pathetic failure. The words echoed in my mind as I sat there, my untouched salad growing cold. 20 years of sacrificing everything for them condensed into 2 words: pathetic failure. I couldn't move for what felt like hours. The video kept playing, but I'd stopped listening after Dad's comment. My entire body felt numb, like I was floating outside myself, watching some other woman's life crumble on a phone screen. The thing is, they weren't entirely wrong. I was 32, single, and my life did revolve around work and them, but not because I was pathetic, because I loved them. Or at least, I thought I did. I thought they loved me too. My phone buzzed, a text from Mom. "Honey, can you transfer $500? Jake needs new tires. You know how dangerous it is to drive with worn treads. Love you." Love you, those 2 words at the end of every request. How many times had I seen them? Hundreds? Thousands? They were as automatic as her requests for money. I stared at the text, then back at the video. The timestamp showed it was recorded just 3 hours ago. 3 hours ago, she was calling me pathetic. Now she loved me because she needed something. Another text came through, this time from Emma. "Sis, Mark and I are looking at houses. Could you help with the down payment? Maybe 10 Kelvin? I promise we'll pay you back." She'd never paid me back for anything. Not the wedding dress, not the honeymoon contribution, not the emergency loan when Mark lost his job 6 months ago. And she never would, because in their minds, I owed them. For what? For existing? For being the responsible one? For being stupid enough to care? My colleague Janet knocked on my door. "Ashley, you okay? You've been in here for 2 hours with the door closed." 2 hours. I'd been sitting there for 2 hours, replaying my life, seeing every interaction through this new lens, every family dinner I'd paid for, every birthday gift that went unreciprocated, every holiday where I showed up with expensive presents while they gave me dollar store candles or nothing at all. "I'm fine," I lied to Janet. But I wasn't fine. I was having what I'd later recognize as the most important awakening of my life. That night, I didn't go home to my apartment. Instead, I checked into a hotel. I needed space to think, away from the photos of family gatherings on my walls, away from the memories embedded in every corner of my place. I ordered room service, something I never did because it was too expensive, and opened my laptop. First, I looked at my bank statements. The numbers made me sick. Over the past 5 years, I'd given my family nearly $200,000. $200,000. I made good money as a software developer, but not that good. I'd been living on ramen and anxiety while they lived on my guilt and generosity. $45,000 to help Mom and Dad with the house. $30,000 for Jake's various emergencies. $50,000 for Emma's wedding and married life. $25,000 for Mom's medical bills that I now suspected weren't all medical. $50,000 in miscellaneous loans that were never mentioned again. Meanwhile, my retirement account was nearly empty. I drove a 15-year-old Honda while Jake had his 3rd new car in 5 years. I lived in a studio apartment while Emma was house shopping. My phone hadn't stopped buzzing. 17 messages from Mom, each more urgent than the last. 8 from Jake. 12 from Emma. Even Dad, who barely texted, had sent 3. I didn't open any of them. Instead, I opened a new document and started writing. "Dear Ashley," I typed, "this is your wake-up call." I wrote everything down, every memory that now made sense. Like when I graduated summa cum laude from college, and no one came to my graduation because Jake had a football game. Or when I was promoted to senior developer, and Mom's response was, "That's nice, dear. By the way, can you help with the property taxes?" Or last Christmas, when I spent 3 days cooking for everyone, bought all the presents, decorated Mom's house, and then overheard Emma tell her friend on the phone that I was trying too hard, as usual. The next morning, I did something I'd never done before. I called in sick to work. Not because I was physically ill, but because I needed time to plan my next moves. Mom had called 43 times overnight. I had 17 voicemails. I listened to them, each one a masterclass in manipulation. Ashley, honey, where are you? I'm worried sick. It's not like you to ignore your mother. Are you okay? Jake really needs those tires. It's a safety issue. I don't know what's gotten into you, but this is very selfish. Your father is upset. You know his blood pressure. Fine. I guess we know where we stand with you. The last one was from Aunt Carol. Your mother is in tears. How could you be so cruel? After everything she's done for you. Everything she's done for me. I actually laughed out loud, alone in that hotel room. What exactly had she done for me? Given birth to me? Fed me as a child? Those were basic parental responsibilities, not lifetime debt sentences. I ordered breakfast, eggs Benedict, fresh fruit, coffee that didn't come from a can, and made a decision. I wasn't going to ghost them. That would be too easy for them to spin. Poor Ashley had a breakdown. She's probably depressed. We should stage an intervention. No, I was going to set boundaries, clearly and firmly, and I was going to start with the truth. I opened my messages and typed a response to Mom's latest text. I saw the video from Sunday's dinner, the one where you called me a pathetic failure and an ATM machine. I need time to process this. Do not contact me until I reach out to you. I hit send before I could second-guess myself. The response was immediate. Not remorse, not an apology. Just, what video? I don't know what you're talking about. You're being dramatic. I screenshot the video and sent it to her. Then I turned off my phone. For 3 days, I stayed in that hotel. For 3 days, I rebuilt myself. I met with a therapist I found online, someone who specialized in family trauma and financial abuse. Yes, financial abuse. That's what she called it. Your family has been exploiting your love and your need for belonging, Dr. Martinez explained during our second session. They've created a dynamic where your worth is tied to what you can provide financially, while simultaneously devaluing you as a person. She was right. Every memory I examined proved it. They only called when they needed something. They only invited me to things when I was paying. They only showed affection when I was useful. On the third day, I finally turned my phone back on. 247 missed calls, 189 text messages, 73 emails. The family group chat that I was usually ignored in was suddenly very active. I read through everything with my therapist's words in mind. Look for accountability. Look for genuine remorse. Look for behavior change. Without these 3 things, apologies are just manipulation tactics. There was no accountability. Mom denied the video was that bad and said I was overreacting. Jake said it was just jokes and that I couldn't take criticism. Emma accused me of being dramatic and ruining everything over nothing. But the most telling response was from Dad. Stop being selfish. Your mother needs that money for her medication. Are you really going to let your pride hurt your family? There it was, even caught red-handed, on video, calling me a pathetic failure. Their main concern was still my money. I made another decision. I wasn't just going to set boundaries. I was going to stop enabling them entirely. I texted the family group chat. I've seen how you really feel about me. I will no longer be providing financial support to anyone. This is not up for discussion. Then I left the group chat. The explosion was immediate and spectacular. Mom showed up at my workplace. Security had to escort her out when she started screaming in the lobby about ungrateful daughters and family obligations. My boss, thankfully, was understanding when I explained the situation. Jake came to my apartment. He pounded on the door for an hour, alternating between threats and tears. I know you're in there, Ashley. You can't do this to us. We're family. I'll lose my job if I can't get to work. Is that what you want? Emma's approach was different. She sent Mark, her husband. Poor Mark, who I actually felt sorry for. He stood at my door, clearly uncomfortable, reciting words that were obviously Emma's. Emma says you're having some kind of episode. She wants you to know she loves you and this is all a misunderstanding. I spoke to him through the door. Mark, I saw a video where your wife called me pathetic and laughed about using me for money. That's not a misunderstanding. He was quiet for a long moment. Then, I'm sorry, Ashley. I didn't know. But he left, and he didn't come back. The extended family got involved next. Cousins I hadn't heard from in years suddenly cared about my well-being. Aunts and uncles who never remembered my birthday were suddenly concerned about my mental health. The narrative they were spinning was clear. Ashley had lost her mind. Ashley was having a breakdown. Ashley was being manipulated by someone. Ashley joined a cult. Ashley was on drugs. Anything except Ashley finally saw the truth and stood up for herself. My therapist had warned me this would happen. When you stop being useful to toxic people, they'll try everything to get you back under control. Guilt, anger, love bombing, threats, spreading lies about you. It's called an extinction burst. It's like a toddler's tantrum, but with adults, it can be dangerous. She was right about the danger part. Mom started calling my workplace, trying to get me fired by making up stories about my mental state. I had to get HR involved. Jake showed up drunk one night, threatening to hurt himself if I didn't give him money. I called 911. The extinction burst lasted 3 weeks. 3 weeks of harassment, manipulation, and escalating tactics. But I held firm. I had Dr. Martinez, I had a support group I'd found online, and most importantly, I had the truth. Then came the silence, sudden and complete. No texts, no calls, no surprise visits, nothing. At first, it was unsettling. I'd grown so accustomed to the chaos that the quiet felt wrong. But then, slowly, I began to fill that silence with something new, my own life. I joined a pottery class, something I'd always wanted to do but never had the money for. I started dating a guy from my hiking group, someone who insisted on splitting every check and brought me flowers just because. I moved to a better apartment, one with actual windows and a kitchen that didn't double as a closet. I was starting to heal. starting to believe that maybe I wasn't pathetic after all. Then, 2 months into the silence, I got a voicemail from Aunt Carol, not asking for money or calling me selfish. She sounded different. Ashley, I need to tell you something. I've been watching your family since you cut them off, and you were right. They're doing the same thing to your cousin Melissa now. The exact same thing. She's been paying for everything, and last week I heard Emma call her the new Ashley and laugh. I'm sorry. I should have seen it. I should have said something. You deserved better. I sat in my car for a long time after listening to that message. Part of me wanted to feel vindicated. Part of me wanted to reach out to Melissa and warn her. But mostly, I just felt sad. Sad that my family was who they were. Sad that another person was going through what I went through. Sad that it took me being replaced for anyone to see the truth. I reached out to Melissa, not to interfere, but to let her know she wasn't alone if she ever needed support. She didn't respond at first, but 3 weeks later, she called me crying. They did it to me too, she sobbed. The video thing. My mom accidentally sent me a recording of them at dinner, laughing about how stupid I am, how I'll never figure out they're using me. Ashley, how did you do it? How did you walk away? I told her about the therapist, the support group, the hotel room where I'd rebuilt myself. I told her about the extinction burst and the silence that followed. I told her it was the hardest thing I'd ever done, but also the most necessary. But they're family, she said, the same words I'd told myself 1,000 times. Family doesn't treat you like an ATM, I replied. Family doesn't call you pathetic behind your back. Family doesn't only value you for what you can provide. Melissa cut them off the next day. The family turned on her just as they'd turned on me, but this time, I was there to support her through it. We became closer than we'd ever been when the family was between us. Meanwhile, my life continued to improve. I got promoted to team lead. My relationship with David, the guy from hiking group, grew serious. We talked about the future, about kids, about building the kind of family I'd always wanted, one based on love, not transactions. Then, a year after I'd cut them off, Mom sent me a letter, an actual physical letter. It was 8 pages long, front and back, 8 pages of how I'd ruined the family, how Jake had lost his job because he couldn't get to work without a car, apparently. How Emma and Mark were getting divorced somehow, my fault. How Dad's health was declining because of the stress I'd caused. How she couldn't afford her medication, the medication I'd later learn from Melissa she never needed. But buried in those 8 pages of blame and manipulation was one telling line. I guess we should have been more careful about what we said on camera. Not we shouldn't have said those things. Not we didn't mean it. Just we should have been more careful. I didn't respond to the letter, but I did make one final decision. I wrote my own letter, not to send, but for closure. In it, I said everything I'd wanted to say for years. Dear Mom, Dad, Jake, and Emma, for 32 years, I loved you with everything I had. I gave you my money, my time, my energy, my dreams. I made myself small so you could feel big. I went without so you could have plenty. I loved you, and you saw that love as weakness to exploit. You called me pathetic, but what's truly pathetic is adults who can't support themselves. You called me a failure, but I succeeded in spite of you, not because of you. You called me an ATM, and you were right. That's all I ever was to you. But I'm not your ATM anymore. I'm not your safety net, your backup plan, your wallet with a heartbeat. I'm a person who deserved love, respect, and basic human decency. The fact that you couldn't provide those things says everything about you and nothing about me. I'm building a beautiful life now. I have real friends who like me for me. I have a partner who sees my worth beyond my bank account. I have a career that's thriving because I'm not constantly stressed about supporting 4 other adults. I have peace. I hope you figure out how to support yourselves. I hope you learn to value people for more than what they can give you. I hope you become better people, but I won't be around to see if you do. This is goodbye. I sealed the letter and put it in a box with all the family photos I'd taken down. Maybe someday I'd send it. Maybe I'd burn it. Maybe I'd just keep it as a reminder of how far I'd come. 2 weeks later, David proposed. He did it on the hiking trail where we'd met, with a ring he'd saved for himself, not expecting me to pay for it. When I said yes, I cried, not just because I was happy, but because I finally understood what real love looked like. It looked like respect. It looked like partnership. It looked like someone who saw my worth beyond my wallet. The wedding was small. 20 people who actually loved us, not 200 people expecting a free party. Melissa was my maid of honor. David's family, who had embraced me from day one, filled the roles my own family had abandoned. 3 days before the wedding, Emma tried one last time. She sent a message through a mutual friend. I heard you're getting married. Don't you think you'll regret not having your family there? We're willing to forgive you if you apologize and things go back to normal. Forgive me, apologize, back to normal. I laughed so hard David thought I was crying. They still didn't get it. They still thought they were the victims. They still believed I would come crawling back. I sent one final message through the same friend. Tell them I said no. Just new no. New explanation. New justification. New emotion. Just new no. The wedding was perfect. No drama. No guilt trips. No whispered comments about my worth. Just love, laughter, and the beginning of my real family. The one I chose. The one I built. The one that saw me as a person, not a bank account. It's been 5 years now. David and I have 2 kids who will never know what it's like to have their worth measured in dollars. My career has skyrocketed without the constant financial drain. Melissa and I are closer than ever, the sisters we never got to be before. Sometimes I wonder about them. Mom, Dad, Jake, Emma. I hear things through the grapevine occasionally. Jake married someone with money. She left him when she saw the pattern. Emma had kids. She's already asking them for their birthday money to help the family. Mom and dad are still struggling, still blaming me for their problems. But mostly, I don't think about them at all. They're characters in a story I used to tell myself, the one where I was the pathetic failure, the supporting role in their lives. But that story is over. Now I'm writing a new one. One where I'm the hero, not the victim, where I'm valued, not used, where I'm loved, not tolerated. And in this story, I learned the most important lesson of my life. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do, for yourself and for them, is to walk away. Because you can't save people who see you as nothing more than a life raft. And you can't find real love if you're too busy begging for scraps of fake affection. They called me a pathetic failure, but I'm neither pathetic nor a failure. I'm a survivor. I'm a success story. I'm free. And that freedom, it's worth more than all the money I ever gave them.